Hello, everyone. My name is Stacy Tucker. I am the AI and Information Literacy Librarian at Monroe Community College. Today, we're going to talk about AI in a way that cuts through all the noise. No hype, no fear mongering, no sci fi fantasies. Whether you love AI or worry about it, this session isn't about telling you what to think. It's about giving you the tools to understand what AI actually does, where it consistently fails, and most importantly, how to use it in your academic work without compromising your learning or your integrity. By the end of this presentation, you'll be better equipped to make informed decisions about when, how, and whether to use these tools. We're going to focus on three key areas today. First, what AI actually is, and I'm going to show you why it often feels smarter than it really is. That gap between perception and reality is where a lot of problems start. Second, we'll talk about where AI reliably fails in academic contexts. It fails more often than you'd think and in predictable ways. And third, this is the most important part, we'll discuss how to use AI responsibly in ways that support your learning rather than replacing it. That's where most students get into trouble, not because they're trying to cheat, but because they don't understand the line between help and harm. Let's start with the basics. When we talk about AI today, we're mostly talking about prediction machines. These systems don't think the way you and I think. They don't understand concepts. What they do is analyze massive amounts of data and predict patterns in language. Here's a helpful way to think about it. AI is not a robot person with knowledge and opinions. It's more like an incredibly sophisticated autocomplete function. It's predicting what word should come next based on patterns it's seen millions of times before. That's powerful, but it's also fundamentally limited in ways we need to understand. This slide might be the most important one in the whole presentation, so pay close attention. AI does not know things. It predicts what words usually come next in a sequence. And here's the critical part: confidence does not equal correctness. AI can sound absolutely certain while being completely wrong. Think about that. When you read an AI response that sounds confident and authoritative, your brain naturally trusts it. But that confidence is just about statistical probability. It has nothing to do with truth. The accuracy of any AI response depends entirely on the patterns in its training data and the quality of the prompt you give it. It's not checking facts, it's not reasoning, it's pattern matching. Most modern AI uses something called machine learning. Essentially, these systems are fed enormous data sets and they learn to identify patterns, often with human trainers guiding the process. A simple example: spam filters learned what junk mail looks like by analyzing millions of emails. The AI tools you're probably familiar with, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, these are what we call generative AI or large language models. They're built using machine learning and neural networks, which are computational systems loosely inspired by how human brains process information. But remember, the inspiration is loose. These are still fundamentally prediction machines, not thinking entities. This is where AI becomes academically dangerous. AI is incredibly good at producing fluent, well structured language. That fluency creates an illusion of authority. Your brain hears sophisticated vocabulary, clear sentence structure, confident tone, and it thinks, this must be correct. But fluency and accuracy are completely different things. AI delivers errors with the exact same confidence as it delivers facts. Even worse, it can fabricate citations that look completely legitimate, proper formatting, real author names, plausible journal titles, but when you try to find that source, it doesn't exist. The persuasion problem is real. We're wired to trust confident, articulate communication, and AI exploits that cognitive bias. You've probably heard the term AI hallucination. An AI hallucination occurs when the system fails to make accurate predictions. It generates something that sounds plausible but is completely fabricated, and it presents that fiction as fact. Here's the crucial point: this is not an actual hallucination. AI systems have no concept of reality, truth, or fact. They're not experiencing anything. They're just predicting the next word based on statistical patterns. When an AI hallucinates, it's not a bug. It's a fundamental feature of how these systems work. They will never warn you that they're guessing. They can't because they don't know the difference between a guess and a fact. AI is not conscious. These systems can analyze data, recognize patterns, and make decisions based on their programming, but they do this without self awareness or understanding. They don't have emotions. They can't experience the world subjectively, and they are absolutely not infallible. AI makes mistakes constantly, especially when dealing with situations not well represented in their training data or when that data contains biases. These limitations aren't temporary bugs that will get fixed in the next update. They're structural features of how AI fundamentally works. AI is not a replacement for human judgment, moral reasoning, or common sense. It's not good at producing creative or nuanced academic arguments. It tends to generate generic, surface level content. AI cannot understand feelings, mental health, or complex social relationships the way humans can. It's not adaptable or creative in the way humans are. It can only recombine patterns it's already seen. And critically, AI is not unbiased. It's exactly as biased as the data it was trained on, which means it often reproduces and amplifies existing societal biases around race, gender, class, and other dimensions. Let me introduce you to two terms that are becoming increasingly common in organizations that adopted AI early: AI slop and AI debt. Companies and institutions are now dealing with serious consequences from over relying on these tools. AI slop is the poor quality output that sounds polished on the surface but lacks real substance. AI debt is the hidden labor cost of fixing AI generated work. Both are especially visible in academic and professional writing, and both are warnings about what happens when we use AI without understanding its limitations. Every major technology in history has brought both benefits and harms. The printing press, electricity, the internet, all of them were disruptive. All of them created winners and losers. All of them required us to develop new literacies and new ethical frameworks. History shows us that technology adoption is never smooth or equitable. It's always complex, always uneven, and always comes with trade offs. AI is no different. The goal here isn't to reject it entirely or embrace it uncritically. The goal is critical use, understanding what it does well, what it does poorly, and making informed decisions about when it's appropriate to use. Whenever AI enters academic work, we have to talk about integrity. But I want to frame this differently than you might expect. This isn't about surveillance. It's not about catching cheaters. It's about how learning is evaluated and represented in academic contexts. When you submit work to your instructors, you're not just completing a transaction. You're demonstrating what you've learned, how you think, and what you can do independently. Academic integrity is really about epistemic honesty, being truthful about how knowledge was produced. Instructors aren't just grading your final product, they're assessing your thinking process, your ability to engage with ideas, your capacity to construct arguments. When AI does that thinking and you don't disclose it, the signal breaks completely. Your instructor thinks they're evaluating your learning, but they're actually evaluating a machine's output. Here's the bottom line: If AI did the thinking, the learning didn't happen. That's not a moral judgment. It's just a fact about how learning works. You can't build skills by outsourcing the practice of those skills. Do not submit AI generated work as your own. That is plagiarism, full stop. It doesn't matter if you edited it slightly or added a sentence. If AI wrote it and you're claiming authorship, that's an integrity violation. Do not use AI to avoid learning. If you're using it to skip past the challenging parts, the parts where your brain is supposed to struggle and grow, you're sabotaging your own education. Lastly, do not trust AI blindly. It will present fiction as fact. It will give you plausible sounding information that is entirely wrong. So, what can you do ethically? There are legitimate ways to use AI as a learning support. You can use it to clarify concepts after you've done the reading. Think of it as a study partner who can answer questions. You can use it to improve organization or clarity in your drafting process after you've written something in your own words. You can use it to check grammar after you've completed your draft. The key word in all of this is after. AI should come after your thinking, not instead of it. And always, always follow your course policies and your instructor's disclosure expectations. If you're uncertain whether a particular use is appropriate, double check the syllabus and talk with your instructor. So, what can you do ethically? There are legitimate ways to use AI as a learning support. You can use it to clarify concepts after you've done the reading. Think of it as a study partner who can answer questions. You can use it to improve organization or clarity in your drafting process after you've written something in your own words. You can use it to check grammar after you've completed your draft. The key word in all of this is after. AI should come after your thinking, not instead of it. And always, always follow your course policies and your instructor's disclosure expectations. If you're uncertain whether a particular use is appropriate, double check the syllabus and talk with your instructor. AI can be genuinely helpful with certain tasks, brainstorming potential topics when you're stuck, generating questions about a subject to guide your research, creating rough outlines to organize your initial ideas. Some students use it to help find research sources, though you need to verify everything it suggests. But here's what AI should never replace: your argument construction, your evidence selection, your final academic voice. Think of AI as scaffolding that helps support your work, not as a replacement for the work itself. The actual learning happens in the construction, not in the consumption of AI output. It's particularly good at processing and summarizing large amounts of information quickly. It can help with generating questions about a topic, brainstorming ideas, creating outlines, and organizing material you've already created. It can assist with drafting basic forms of writing like emails, and it can help verify or edit work you've already completed. Here's an important tip. AI hallucinations are significantly less frequent when you're asking it to analyze content you provide rather than generate facts from scratch. So, using AI to summarize an article you upload is generally safer than asking it to tell you about that article based on its training data. But even in its areas of strength, human verification is absolutely essential. If you're going to use AI, you need to understand prompting. The quality of AI output depends heavily on the quality of your prompt. Vague general prompts produce vague general output and increase the likelihood of hallucinations. Specific prompts with clear constraints, explicit context, and concrete boundaries produce much better results. Here's an example. Compare write about health to craft a compelling sales pitch for a new health and wellness product that boosts energy, targeting busy professionals over the age of 55 with middle class incomes. The second prompt gives the AI clear parameters, a specific audience, and concrete goals. The more context and boundaries you provide, the safer and more useful the output becomes. Learning to prompt well is a skill worth developing. Not all AI tools are created equal. They differ in accuracy, transparency, data retention policies, and whether your institution has approved them for academic use. Practicing AI literacy means choosing tools thoughtfully, not just using whatever is popular or free. The major chatbots, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Copilot, Perplexity, all have different strengths and weaknesses. There are specialized tools for graphics like DALL-E and Midjourney, video tools like Synthesia, text to speech tools like 11 Labs, and music generation tools like SoundRaw. Part of being AI literate is understanding which tool is appropriate for which task and knowing when the answer is none of the above. Finally, AI is not an authority. It's a tool. And like any powerful tool, it can be used well or poorly. What matters more than ever is your critical thinking, your ethical judgment, and your information literacy. Those are human skills that no AI can replace. The library is here to help you develop those skills and navigate this complexity responsibly. If you have questions about AI tools, about academic integrity, about research strategies, the librarians are a resource. Thank you for your attention today. Please reach out to me at stucker25@monroecc.edu if you have any questions, need help, or want to learn more about AI, library tools, and research skills.